I'm Vita Reeves, and I'm interim director here at Normal Editions Workshop. We're a collaborative research facility for printmaking in the School of Art at Illinois State University in the College of Fine Arts.
My name is Jim Butler, and I taught at Illinois State University from 1976 to 2009. And I was involved with the initial organization, the concept of Normal Editions Workshop Press, and helped bring this workshop to Illinois State University.
My name is Richard Finch. I am Professor Emeritus, School of Art, Illinois State University, and former director of Normal Editions Workshop, which is the print research facility at Illinois State University.
Hello, my name is Morgan Price. I'm an assistant professor of art at Illinois State University and a collaborative printer at Normal Editions Workshop.
Well, first of all, there's a long and terrifically rich history of printmaking. So if anybody is interested at all just in prints alone, I think they will be overwhelmed by the range and complexity of the projects that Normal Editions has accomplished, created, endeavored to pull off over the last 40 years.
One of the things that I think is really remarkable about Normal Editions Workshop is the opportunity for the students, but also the opportunity for the community. We bring in artists from all over the country and various reputations. I think it's really interesting. Everyone has their own unique vision about things. Each of our artists that we bring in does a public lecture, so those are always free, and has the opportunity for community members to be there. It's not just university.
You won't find any two images that are alike. Each of the artists came with their own thought process, and they endeavored to take those ideas into a medium that a lot of times they were not familiar with. And so there was always this sort of struggle between what the medium can give, how we can make the medium work for them to carry off their idea, and then how the artist ended up adapting also to the medium of printmaking. So there are a lot of different things that are there in the show that I think the general public will find fascinating.
As you can see, we have room in this, for one press here, and it happens to be a lithography press. Lithography is one of the most faithful techniques for the mark of the artist. An artist that doesn't know anything about printmaking at all can be set up with a stone or a plate and crayons for dry method, or tush washes if they prefer a wet media. And so those techniques transfer very directly from their normal painting and drawing methods, and then we can take the stone or the plate and process it so that we can print multiples from that original drawing.
Okay, well, a lithograph, the rudimentary steps of a lithograph really have to do with what we always term the antipathy of grease to water. You draw with a grease material, and then you find a way to make the stone receptive to water, which you do with an etch. And then you take the grease out and you replace it with ink. And then you sponge the stone with water and you roll the stone with ink. The ink is rejected by the water, but is attracted to the drawing, the grease material. And so ultimately, if you do all of these chemical steps correctly, you can make the drawing print, and you can make what we call the non-image area reject ink or not print.
Well, I think someone who doesn't know anything about printmaking can still take away a lot from these artworks. I think the first thing to take away is the diversity of the images. The job of the master printer, in my view, is to work with an artist and take his or her ideas and put them into printmaking. So maybe somebody is a painter, knows nothing about printmaking. Those are actually the best ones with whom to work, because they're just open for anything. But I think that's one thing that somebody who doesn't know printmaking can take away from this, that there was a great deal of effort put into each of these images to make sure that the artist's voice still comes through. I had what I thought was the perfect job at ISU. I was the director there for 38 years, and I taught all levels of printmaking and drawing. And my job was such that half my time I spent collaborating with artists as the director of NEW, and the other half I spent teaching my students. So it was absolutely the job I wanted.
We work with artists from the local community as well as national and international reputation. And artists often will come here in combination with an exhibition at university galleries, like David Wojnarowicz in the late 80s. There was Barry Blinderman at University Galleries did the first museum show of this New York artist that was very cutting edge about the AIDS crisis. And so we did 3 prints with him. So it's very easy to work with Chicago artists because they can get on the train and be here in a couple of hours and spend some time. And you know, when an artist comes from New York, like Alex Gray, he was here for a week and everything had to be done in that week, and then he was gone. You know? When an artist comes from Chicago, they can come for a few days and go back home again, and we can process some plates and do some color trial proofing, and they can come back again. It's a little bit more flexible in that way. I think that the idea of bringing in artists in the future, we have some alumni that also come back and propose projects, and that can be a really exciting thing to see them at, you know, many years down the line in their careers, and to bring that kind of experience back for the current students.
I walked into the exhibition and I felt like I was with old friends for the most part. From the first prints that I did, that we collaborated on, to the ones that I did just before I retired, which was about just over 2 years ago. So I can tell you that as I look around the room, I've got stories about each and every one of these, well, the ones upon which I collaborated. I've got stories about them all. And some of them some stories are funny and others maybe not so funny, but there are anecdotes all over this room for me. And I'm very pleased with all of the work, and I'm very pleased with the work that I see that I had no part of, the prints that have been completed since my retirement. It looks terrific.
Well, there are many exciting components of the archive as a whole, I would say. For one thing, I think it's so exciting that there are such a broad range of really great work reflecting wonderful artists from so many different years that all lives here in our local community. You know, that archive is here and present. So that's really exciting to see the breadth of work. You see how different trends and different things change over time as artists evolve. You know, there are artists who have worked repeatedly with NEW, and so you see their work shift and change a bit. The book Marks from the Matrix that NEW produced in celebration of their 30th anniversary has a very nice collection of work, and so that's in between there and the website is where I tend to see a lot of the works. And just because of the physicality of moving some of the pieces around, we pull special ones and look at them periodically, but each time there's an exhibition, for me, is a chance to see in person and to look up close at some of the works that maybe I haven't yet seen.
I feel quite privileged to have been a participant in over 20 years of Normal Editions Workshops, 40 years. I think that it's a wonderful setup, the idea of having that professional print workshop right here for the students to participate in and to observe. And it's new every time when an artist comes in for a new project. We also try to keep some good consistency. We had Richard Finch as our director for 38 years. That was a very good, stable time frame. So the future is exciting about the idea of you know, our next milestone will be 50 years, and I'm looking forward to that as a really big celebration to, you know, half a century of this entrepreneurial type project.
Well, I think it shows McLean County Arts Center's interest in the community. I mean, these prints were all done at ISU, and so, yeah, I think that's what it shows. The Arts Center is interested in the community and what happens within the community, supporting community artists, supporting community arts agenda, efforts, if you will. So I'm very pleased that this work is here.